Good morning. Okay, yeah, my name's Elia, and our company is Alcomy, and we're empowering those who care for them. And who are them? Those are our elderly population. I used to own and operate facilities for about 18 years and sold back in 2017. And a big problem in the industry, as I've exited the industry and as I've started interviewing people, there's been three main themes when I talk to administrators and owners and even caregivers. The first problem is they talk about the amount of paperwork and documentation that has to be done and the pain that that is, right? The second thing that they'll talk about is they'll talk about managing staff is a huge pain, making sure they know who's doing what, when is it getting done, and things of that nature. The third thing is communication. How does a facility communicate with everybody? Currently now, it's interesting, but currently right now, 74% of all facilities in the United States use a paper-based system to manage all of these complexities within a facility. This is mainly what kind of goes into running a facility. You obviously have things around resident care, managing their medications, staying in compliance with licensing, scheduling, family coordination, just a bunch of things that are all being that have to be coordinated and managed, and the facility's basically in charge of doing all of that. And so this is the problem, because the tools that are out there today that they're mainly using is paper, sticky notes, and things like that. So as you can see, in a typical facility, you have your caregivers, your med techs, your administrative staff. They're all communicating. They're using paper binders. They're using sticky notes, and all this information is kind of scattered around the facility. There's really no one single source of truth. There's no one place where everyone gets their information. A lot of it could be word of mouth, and that causes lots of different problems. If there is a solution out there, a software solution, they mainly just kind of hover around the resident care, medication management, and some compliance areas. So it's not really a complete management solution, and that's something that when we're talking to administrators, that was one thing that they actively wanted. They wanted something more robust that handled everything that they had to do on a daily basis. And so the solution that we came up with is Alcomy, and Alcomy it's a mobile-first solution. It doesn't mean that it only works on mobile, but it works on any platform, and it allows for facilities to save a ton of time, and we'll talk about that in a second. It's becoming an all-in-one solution. It will decrease liabilities because now there's more accountability of what is going on, and then obviously less mistakes within documentation. So how we do that, the first thing we're doing is we're saving time. On average, just with the medication automation that we have, it's saving the preparation of this documentation at least 30 to 45 minutes per resident inside of a facility. So that quickly adds up. In terms of a better experience, its UX UI is much better than paper. And here's just one example. On the left there, you'll see is a typical what they call a MAR. It's how you manage medications. And so they're handwriting these things out every month. And so on the right is our design and making it very, very easy for them to get in, prep their meds, give their meds, and document all that goes into medication. So it's just overall better experience for the care staff. We also decrease liability. We have alerting. This was the number one feature that customers wanted, was the ability to know when things didn't get done so that they could actually fix it in that moment. So this increases accountability among staff of who's doing what and what's getting done when. Better visibility. Now managers are more mobile. They can be out and about handling things that are important for the facility without having to be behind a desk. They can be more on the floor, and they've taken that knowledge with them wherever they are, whereas right now they cannot do that. So coming back to our three problems here, we have this single source of truth where all the information, all of the care tasks, all goes into Alcomy, and everybody can access it. So everybody is now on the same page. So our validation, we've talked to, actually should have updated this, well over 100 administrators and owners. We pre-sold some facilities. Recently in September, we launched with 2 facilities, launched with them, learned a ton, had to make some adjustments to the application, and we're relaunching here in the next couple of weeks with the rest of those, and now we're reaching out to other facilities, just cold calling and gathering interest that way. the market landscape, the interesting thing here is that the industry is expected to double from 2016 to 2030. It's expected to completely double. And so there's a rapidly growing market, and we think that there's lots of opportunity there. There is competition, of course. These are kind of the main ones that we've seen. And there's different issues with them in terms of their design and how much is, they kind of throw what we call the kitchen sink, throwing the kitchen sink at you. We're a more simplistic design, much easier for the end user to navigate through. Our go-to-market strategy is we're just simple pricing. It's $25 a month per resident. That's a monthly recurring. And we're primarily targeting facilities that are paper-based facilities. There are facilities who do run with software. We believe that our roadmap will allow us to compete there eventually, but primarily we're dealing with the facilities that are running paper today. And the team is just my brother and myself. I used to own and operate facilities, as I said in the beginning, for about 18 years. And my brother's the coder and the brains behind all of the programming. So we're Alcomy, and we're improving the care of others by empowering those that care for them.
So what has your response been? I'm guessing you've gone around and you've visited different care facilities here locally. What's been your response been by different teams as they've seen like your MVP?
Yeah, so in Utah is very interesting. Utah is the highest of all states. Utah is the most adopted for software. So we have reached out to Utah facilities. They already are using software. So since we know we can't compete directly with those softwares yet, but of the ones mostly where we're calling in California, of the ones that have seen our MVP, they're actually very surprised. They don't realize what software can do until they see the type of automation and things that we can do. And so they're very excited, yeah.
So you have direct competitors in the market, it sounds like. How would you describe how are you differentiated from your competitors? What's your concise, unique value proposition compared to them?
I think our number one thing is that we make it simple. So if you look at their software systems, hands down, it will look like it was built in the 90s. Ours is a modern design, makes it very, very easy and simplified for the end user, which is really the caregiver or the med tech, the person taking care of the residents. Those are the ones that are interacting with it. So we've really built it from that standpoint, making it very, very simple and intuitive for them to use. And from our feedback that we've gotten, that's what has been expressed. I would say that's our number one.
Sorry if I missed part of it. Is this just for the medication, or does this help them coordinate other care activities? And then follow up to that, how does maybe the physician who's not on site, but they're specialists or primary care, get access to what you guys are doing on their EHR?
Yeah, so right now, there's three main areas of the app that we handle. So one is medication, because that's kind of the biggest one. The other one is care. We call them care tasks. So it's those events, those things that are done specifically for each resident. And then the third thing is communication with the care staff. So we call them announcements, but it's the ability for the manager to get a message out to different groups and have them confirm that they've read and they've acknowledged that. Currently, we don't have any access. Well, they could have access if the facility makes an account for, let's say, a physician, but we don't currently have like a physician's portal yet. That's definitely on the roadmap and somewhere we want to go. The other thing that we heard back from a lot of these interviews was that they wanted a more all-in-one solution. So there's areas in terms of like just general tasks and things around like the staffing training that have to do to stay in compliance. So one of the things that they repeatedly said was they didn't want to have to go to 5 different software solutions to run their business. They wanted one to handle all of them so that they all talk to each other. So that's the vision of where we're going towards.
Elia, sorry if I missed this or not, but is this something that you think eventually maybe just the at-home care provider could use as well? So if I'm taking care of my aging parent and I have a regimen medication to make sure that they're getting or taking, or just the living on their own person that has that kind of, I know as you get older, there are quite a bit of concerns with that from just privacy of their own home.
Yes, actually, that's something, again, on the roadmap where we think we can go with this is it's basically care. It could be facility, it could be, an agency that sends people out, or it could be eventually a family, families that are managing that care for themselves. So a lot of the same principles will apply. Obviously, you just won't have it in a facility setting, but yes, so a central source for families to be able to communicate, because oftentimes you'll have a main caregiver, and that person goes away, the next person comes in, something happens, and they don't really know what the meds are and those things. So yes, eventually we think that that's a viable path as well.
All right. We have one last question for you guys, and that is, what can the 1 Million Cups community do for you?
What can they do for us? So right now, like we said, we're relaunching. And so we've already got a few pre-sales, but we obviously want more facilities, more customers to kind of get on the system. So first thing is, if you know anybody who is in the assisted living industry, they're an administrator, an owner, a caregiver of a facility, we'd love to get in contact with them and see if there's any interest to get on and try out our software.